That you need a spirituality that will help you and sustain you in this very important ministry that you've undertaken. All of the other things, as noble as they are, will fall and will falter. They are weak foundations. But a solid spirituality based and rooted in the Eucharist will sustain you through the inevitable tough times that come. Opened and the Spirit descending upon him like a dove. And the voice came from heaven. You are my beloved Son. With you I am well pleased. Now see, as I read that, you guys are like, it doesn't pop. But pretend you're at Starbucks and you're having a little latte and someone goes, oh yeah, the other day I saw the sky open up and a dove came down and descended on me and God just started saying, you are my beloved daughter with whom I'm well pleased. The other person would choke on their latte. What? Are you crazy? Now, I've never been to the banks of the Jordan River. Have you? Father, you have? I always pictured there being sand. Is there sand or rock on the bank? Neither? What is there, Father? Grassy. Dang. That didn't work for me, Father. I was hoping you were going to say rocks, really. Because I kind of pictured myself throwing rocks at John the Baptist. So there's grass, and I picture myself sitting on the banks of the Jordan, taking up a lot of space on the grass, okay? Killing it, okay? And watching this guy, John the Baptist, in the water. Now, John was a freak! He was a freak. I mean, even the scriptures let us know he was a freak. Who do you know that wears a camel hair shirt and eats locusts and honey? Like, not during Lent. He's a freak, okay? Like, John was, like, intense, and that's awesome. I'm not knocking John the Baptist, okay? You're cool, all right? He's awesome, but, like, people were mesmerized by him. Even people who didn't follow him, like, went to, like, look at him. Like, come check this freak out. Okay? In comes into the water this long-haired hippie-like dude that nobody knows. See, because you can get tripped up and you're thinking you're focusing on Jesus coming into the water, but nobody knows him. A couple of people are like, hey, he's some rabbi, Joseph and Mary's son. John the Baptist is who they're looking at. So picture yourself looking at John the Baptist. All of a sudden, this intense man who is doing his work drops the cup or the shell that he's baptizing with and looks exactly like this at somebody walking into the water. And he starts walking toward it. And so now if I'm looking at John, I'm looking to see what he's looking at. There's this guy coming into the water, and he and John are walking toward each other. And they finally meet. Who is this guy John the Baptist is dropping his shell to go talk to? Why is he important? And they exchange. And you can almost see tears well up in John the Baptist's eyes. And this is what we don't get, and that's why our kids don't get it. This is huge. Do you know, we don't know what it's like to wait for something. Most people in a first world country don't know what it's like to really wait and need something. I haven't needed anything in 25 years. He had been waiting. He stood on the shoulders of generations of his ancestors who had been waiting for this man, this anointed one, this Christos, this Messiah. And here he is, he's coming into the water. This is it. I am not worthy to unfasten the sandals, much less baptize you, Lord. And then, now, go into James Earl Jones mode. The heavens part. And James Earl Jones, this is for me, Father, the voice of the Father. Okay? You are my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. The Transfiguration, the Father says, this is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. In the baptism account, he says, you are my beloved Son. With you I am well pleased. He's talking to his son. It's a dad having a heart-to-heart with his little boy, who's 30, okay, with his son, because he's about to go and get his butt kicked in the desert. He's about to have 3 of the most intense years ever experienced by a human being, ever had been and ever will be. And he's telling his son, boy, I'm proud of you. You are good stuff. You've got what it takes. Here is my blessing. And he blesses him. And he blesses him. Immediately the Spirit drove him out of the desert. So I picture Jesus like skipping on the water or walking out of the Jordan to go into the desert and be tempted by Satan. But he couldn't do that ministry until his father first reminded him of who he was. And that original blessing. What does the word blessing mean? Chocolate, people, come on. Blessing. I'll eat the chocolate. Why is it important that we understand the meaning of that word? Because a Protestant pastor got a hold of that word blessed, and he developed a whole theology of blessing on it. A whole theology, this Protestant Texan pastor said, blessing, if you're blessed, if you live in God's will, God will give you a whole bunch of stuff. If you're in God's will and you're blessed, God will bless you. You will have the house you want and the car you drive. And so much so that you will be able to live your best life now. Who wrote it? Joel Osteen. Nice guy. Joel, you cool, bro. All right? Not knocking you. Just disagree with you. Now that's an interesting definition of the word blessing. And you know, when I first heard it, it's like spiritual crack. Okay? It's like, ooh, I'm a goody two-shoes spiritual kind of guy. Where's my Mercedes? I'd like a new house, Joe. And it's the only problem that I have with Joel's definition is that there was a 4'1" Albanian nun who lived in the worst hovel in the world, whose life is a complete contrast and disagreement with that definition. Mother Teresa's whole life, her whole life, exemplified that that is a bogus definition, that you can be blessed and have nothing. Because blessing is a spiritual reality. The word blessed, and one of the ways God blesses you is with gifts. Whenever we talk to kids about their brokenness, they have to first have received our blessing. If we haven't recognized our gifts, how can we expect to recognize the blessing and the gifts in the kids? If you can't see the gift that is in you, nobody's closer to you than you. If I can't see the gift that is in me, I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't recognized the gift that is in others. And the worst travesty is that if we cannot recognize the gifts and the blessing in our kids and those young people God puts in our care, we won't be able to call it out of them. I got to know who I was because he specifically called out of me those gifts. And you have that opportunity. You have that opportunity, and the research says you'll do that to 3,000 kids in the course of your career. To 3,000 kids in the course of your career. If it weren't for some teachers and some amazing people calling forth my giftedness, I wouldn't be here today. Praise God for that. You have that power. You have that opportunity. But you first have to recognize your blessing. And these